Okay, this is going to be the last part of the Conics review. Is going to be the completing the square components. Okay, doing the completing the square for the circle is a little different. And the way you can tell the circle has the same number in front of x squared. In this case, is 1 and 1. Okay, so what you want to do, all right, normally if there's a number in here, you would divide. But since there's not, I'm just going to group my x's. All right, I'm going to group my x's together. So x squared and 10x. I'm going to leave a space, y squared and negative 16y. And I'm going to move the negative 11 over there, so that's going to become positive 11. All right. So then what I want to do, all right, is because there's no number in front, I'm going to go ahead and divide this by 2. So I get x plus 5 squared. I'm going to square the 5 in the calculator, so that's going to be 25. Okay. This number is always going to be positive, all right, never negative. So plus 25 there, plus 25 over here. I'm going to divide this by 2, so that's going to be negative 8. Negative 8 squared is going to be 64. So plus 64 plus 64. Okay, and when I combine, all right, so then I combine those numbers together, I get 100. Okay, so the type of conic is a circle, and the center is negative 5, 8. Okay, all right. Now, this one happens to be an ellipse. How do I know it's an ellipse? Different numbers with a plus in between them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the x's together, the y's together, and I'm going to move my number over here. It's going to be negative 261. Okay, all right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide out the 4 first. Okay, so I got 4x squared plus 6x. Okay, I'm going to finish this one off. So now I can complete the square. I'm going to divide that by 2. So that's going to be x plus 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. Okay, all right, so 3 squared is 9. So as you're going through this, all right, keep in mind that since it's always going to be positive, just 3 squared, 9. All right, okay. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put 9 over there like I did when I had the circle and put 25. I'm going to take this 4 and multiply it, so it gives me 36. Okay, so I'm going to do a plus 36 over to this side. Okay, all right, now, this one has a 25 in front of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide out a 25. Okay, so that's going to be 25, okay, y squared minus 10y. Okay. I'm going to divide that negative 10y by 2. Okay, so I got y minus 5 squared. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. Okay, now, once again, I'm not going to put 25 over there. I'm going to multiply 25 times 25. And that's 625. All right, so when I add all these guys together, all right, what I'm going to have here is I got negative 261 plus 36 plus 625, okay, and that's going to give me 400, okay. Now, ellipses are a little bit different than circles in that we want these to end in 1, so I'm going to divide this by 400, all right, and then what I do is 4 divided by 400, all right, that's going to be 1 over 100, so I just write this thing, x plus 3 squared over 100, plus, all right, what 25 divided by 400 is? 1 over 16, so y minus 5 squared over 16 equals 1, okay? My conic type is ellipse, and my center is negative 3, 5, okay? So make sure you can see that. Yep, you can, fantastic, okay? Now, this one, all right, and this is meant to be changed. Make this negative 200. Okay, make that negative 200. It's not going to work out. Okay, so turn that into negative 200x. I want to group the x's and x's and y's with y's. Now, this one is going to be a hyperbola because I've got a minus in front of the square term. Okay, now y is the positive one, so I'm going to put that first. That's going to be 25 y squared minus 300y. All right, then and then I'm going to have negative 100x squared minus 200x. And then this 700 will be over there, it'll be negative 700. Okay? I'm going to take out a 25 from that. Okay? So what I'm going to have is 25y squared minus 12. Let me see, what's negative 300 divided by 25? I thought it was 12, but I could be wrong. No, it is, negative 12y, all right? And I'm leaving a space here. I'm going to divide this negative 12 by 2. So that's going to be y minus 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. Make sure that number is always positive. Now, I'm not going to put 36 over there. I'm going to multiply 25 times 36. So I'm going to use my calculator for that. It's a pretty big number. That's 900. Okay? So I'm going to put a plus 900 over here. Okay? Now, this I'm going to take out a negative 100. Okay? And this is where you got to be careful. This is going to be x squared. Negative 200 divided by negative 100 is 2. Okay? So that's going to be 2x. All right? So I'm going to take that 2 and divide it by 2. So that's going to be x plus 1 squared. 1 squared is 1. Now, once again, what I have to be careful of, I'm not going to put 1 over there. I'm going to do negative 100 times 1, and it will give me negative 100. Okay? And I'm going to put negative 100 here. So, when I combine all those numbers, I got negative 700 from when I moved that 700 over to the other side. I got the positive 900 that I got from multiplying the 36 and the 25. And I got the minus 100 from multiplying negative 101. I get 100. All right? So what I want is I want this equal to 0. I'm sorry, equal to 1. So I'm going to divide all these by 100. Okay? So I got 25 over 100. Okay, which is 1/4. And negative 100 divided by 100, which is negative 1. So the way I would write this is y minus 6 squared over 4 minus x plus 1 squared over 1 equals 1. Okay? I got to be careful on my center. Okay? My x coordinate is negative 1. Even though it's second, it's right there, x. All right? This is going to be 6. Okay? All right? Moving on to the bottom 3. Okay, all right. This one right here is an ellipse because I got two different numbers and it's squared, so that's an ellipse. Okay, so I'm going to group the x's with x's and y's with y's. 36x squared, negative 72x, 16y squared, 64y, and this is going to be move over here as positive 476. Okay. I'm going to divide out the 36 out of that, and I got 36 outside the parentheses. That's going to be x squared minus 2x, okay? Then I'm going to divide that by 2, so that's going to be x minus 1 squared. Negative 1 squared would be 1. Now, I don't want to put 1 over there. I want to do 36 times 1, which is 36, so I got a positive 36 over here, okay? This one, I want to take out a 16, okay? So I got 16, I got y squared plus 4y, okay? I'm going to take that 4y and divide by 2, so that's going to be y plus 2 squared, all right? 2 squared is 4, okay? Now, I don't want to put 4 over here. I want to do 16 times 4, which would be 64, okay? So 4 divided by 2 was 2, 2 squared was 4. I know that's pretty sloppy, it's not very neat. Oh wow, my pen's right like that. Okay, there we go, that's a little better. Okay, so 16 times 4 is 64. Okay, so when I combine all those numbers together, 476, 36, 64, I get 576. Okay, you got to make sure you stay neat with this. I got a limited space. If you need more space, use more space. All right, so now I'm going to divide by 576. Okay, 36 over 576 is 1/16. Okay, so x plus 1 squared over 16. I got 16 over 576 is 1 over 36. And this is going to be 1. My center, let me move this up slightly. Whoops. My center will be negative 1, 2, or negative 1, negative 2. Make sure you can see that. I don't think you can. Negative 1, negative 2 will be the center. Okay? All right? Let me move this slightly over so you can see. Let me walk you through that once again. Okay? So what I did was I took out a 36. Okay? I took out a 36 there, or I grouped them, I'm sorry. 36x squared, negative 72x. I took out the 36. I was left with x squared minus 2x. I divided the negative 2 by 2. I got, that should be a negative 1, not a positive 1, I'm sorry. All right, let me go back. I got sloppy and I made a mistake. Pen's not very good. Okay, so, and then I squared negative 1 was 1. 36 times 1 was 36. Okay. I got 64y squared, and 16y squared and 64, so I divided by 16. I got 4, divided 4 by 2, I got 2. 2 squared was 4. 16 times 4 was 64. Added all those up, 576, divide them all by 576, and that's how I got that. Now, this next one is going to be a hyperbola. Okay, the reason I know it's a hyperbola because there's a negative in front of that y squared. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the x's. I'm going to group the y's. And then I'm going to move this to negative 164. Okay, all right, the 64 moves over and becomes negative 164. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a 49. That's x squared. You need to divide 294 by 49. That's understandable. Oops. 6. Okay, so 6x. I'm going to divide that by 2. 6 divided by 2 would be 3. 3 squared would be 9. Okay. Now, I don't want to put 9 over there. I want to do 49 times 9, which is 441. Okay? All right? Now, on this one, I want to take out a negative 1. And that's going to be y squared minus 18y. You got to make sure you do that because it's a hyperbola. Okay? So then I got negative 1 there. All right? Divide negative 18 by 2. I get negative 9. Negative 9 squared is 81. Now, I don't want to put 81 over there. I want to do negative 1 times 81, which would be negative 81. Okay? So when I combine all those numbers, and here's the numbers I'm going to combine. Okay? All right, I got negative 164. I got that from moving the 164 to the other side. I got 49 times 9 ended up being 441. That was positive 441. From completing the square on this one, it was 81, but negative 1 times 81 it was negative 81. Okay? And when I combine that, I get 196. All right? Once again, I don't want to have it end in 196. I'm going to divide all those by 196. Okay? So 49 divided by 196 is a fourth. So x plus 3 squared over 4. I got the minus between it. I can do that as 1 divided by 196. And it's 1 over, it's y minus 9 squared over 196 equals 1. I'm going to be careful. That's going to be my x, which will be negative 3. And that's going to be my y, which will be 9. Okay? All right? Last one here. Last one's going to be a circle. How do I know it's a circle? Okay? I know it's a circle because these have the same number. Now, what you're allowed to do is only when it's a circle, I can divide everything by 3. because it's all the same number, okay? All right, everything can be divided there, all right? So I got x squared, y squared, negative 8x, 16y, negative 6 equals 0, all right? I'm going to group the x's with the x's, and the y's with the y's, and I'm going to move that negative 6 and it's going to become positive. So I'm going to divide this by 2, I get negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16, plus 16 plus 16. Then I'm going to do 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 squared is 64, okay? If I combine all those numbers together, all right? Okay, so all I'm doing, I'm not showing you the squared stuff, but that's basically how I'm getting all those numbers. Negative 4 squared, even though it shows up to be negative, I'm always putting it as positive, because really negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Okay? If I combine all those numbers, I had a 6 from when it moved. I had the 16 from that side. And I had 64 from that side. So what I got here is I got 86. So that's x minus 4 squared plus y plus 8 squared equals 86. Okay? My center is 4, negative 8. Okay? All right, you could go through that, but it basically makes sure you regroup them, divide out whatever number's in front there, okay? Then you can divide that middle term by 2, okay? Whatever you get, square it. This number will always be positive. Make sure that you're multiplying the original times that number, and that same number goes over to the other side. That's the key component. All right, for ellipse and hyperbola, make sure whatever number you get done totaling, you divide out each one and get a fraction, okay? So if you practice that, you should do well.